Welcome to Illo Talk. I am Cory Kerr. This is episode 133, where we are going to talk about why you should absolutely not do what everybody tells you to do and develop a thick skin as an artist. So, oftentimes we are told as creatives, as artists, that you need to stop being so emotional, stop feeling everything, don't get your feelings hurt so bad, toughen up, take criticism, and do all these things. What that advice actually does, if you take it too far, is it makes you dead. It makes you unfeeling. And you need to feel. You need to be able to both accept criticism, but feel criticism. And so the problem is this, is if you become someone who doesn't feel the hurt when you are attacked or when your work is hated or whatever, it means you're no longer invested in your work. It should hurt. The problem with thick skin is that you should care, but thick skin doesn't allow you to. It should hurt when you're insulted, criticized, torn down, hated, etc. These aren't experiences that you should be numb to, but you don't want to let them beat you. And so what you want to try to avoid is being so emotional that somebody who gives you criticism shuts you down and you don't create anymore. But you also equally want to avoid becoming so numb or thick-skinned to criticism that it doesn't hurt. And this is kind of a weird thing. You want to embrace kind of that pain. In this life, we can choose to be open to experience or closed to it. We don't get to choose what type of experiences come necessarily, though we can kind of craft our own path and whatnot, but sometimes it's going to suck and sometimes it's going to be great, and that's part of that. But we do get to choose whether or not we are open to experiencing those things that come, the present moment, the things that kind of drive us, hurt us. We can experience those things. We can internalize them and bottle them up and let them eat us away. Or we can be there present in the moment, experience it, work it through, or we can deflect everything, right? Think of yourself as a container. Okay? If you're a container, you get to choose whether you are open or closed as a container. But you don't get to necessarily choose what life puts in that container. But if you're open to joy, then you will also be open to pain in an equal measure. Okay? If you're open to heartache, then you're also going to be open to love. If you're open to experiencing hurt or disappointment or grief when you don't do as well as you should, you're also open to experiencing the antithesis or the opposite of that, which would be being open to the joys of succeeding, the joys of winning, the joys of caring that you're improving and doing well, right? If you numb yourself to the pain, if you numb yourself to the hurt, you also numb yourself and shut yourself off from the joy and the success. Let me give you an example. If you're in a relationship and in that relationship you decide to protect yourself, you've been hurt in the past and so you're not going to open up and you're going to protect yourself, you're not really in that relationship. You are protecting yourself from the pain, but you're also protecting yourself from the joy that comes with intimacy. You cannot be intimate without also being vulnerable to attack. One of the people on this planet that could hurt me the most is my wife. I'm the most intimate and the most open. I share the most with her, and thus she has the ability or the option to hurt me the most. That's why divorce and breakups are so terrible. They really, really hurt. They really do. And it's because we have opened ourselves up to those things. But if we don't open ourselves up to those things, then we lack and we're withholding and we put up walls and barriers to where we don't let people in. Right? And so you cannot fully accept something unless you are willing to also accept its opposite. Okay? And so if you want to enjoy your work, you are also going to have to be open to experiencing the pain and suffering that comes with that enjoyment, right? Those are two sides of the same coin. Okay? Let me give you an example. and this involves a little bit of a risk, okay? And the risk is this. I think I've told you guys in the past that I used to work on a farm, right? And so as a 12-year-old kid, I was out in the fields of Kalinga, California, in the middle of the desert, and I weeded the fields. And so I had my little short-handled hoe, and I would walk up and down the aisles, and I would weed the fields. And I got really, really good at it. I remember my grandpa, who ran this farm, complimented me in front of my grandma. He said, yeah, you know, Cory's one of the best weeders that I've seen. I mean, he's really, really good. He really doesn't miss much. And so I had both validation that I was doing well, and I knew that I was taking my time, making sure I was methodically, I had like a system so I wouldn't miss any weeds. Well, he came by one time and he said, no, Cory, up on my tractor, I can see everything in the field, right? And so I'm going to go and I'm going to follow behind you. I'm going to spray this field after you're done, and I'll make you a bet. I will bet you that I'll choose any random row. Just pick a row. And if I don't find a weed in that row, I will raise your wages 50 cents an hour, which at the time was a lot of money for me, right? This is in 92 when I was 12 years old. And so he said, but if I do find a weed, for every weed that I find, I will lower your hourly wage 25 cents an hour. And so I started calculating and I thought, man, that is not, what if I miss something? I started doubting myself. I wasn't willing to take that risk. And so I said, you know, I don't think I'm going to take that bet. I think I'm going to stay safe, protect myself from the possible negative effects of this deal, right? And so I just kind of stayed where I was, didn't accept that bet. He did the whole field. There's, I don't know, 50 rows in this field. And he came back and he said, Cory, you should have taken that bet. And I said, why is that? And he said, because I found 2 weeds out of 50 rows. You could be making, and he kind of calculated off the next couple of weeks how much I would be making extra in my next paycheck. And it was a lot of money. And because I was not willing to accept the risk of the hurt, I missed out on the risk of, or I missed out on the opportunity of that extra money. And it's the same thing with art. It's the same thing with writing. It's the same thing with any creative endeavor. You have to put yourself out there. And when you put yourself out there, you're taking a risk. And when you take that risk comes with the possibility of acceptance, success, fulfillment, whatever it is that you're doing this for, financial gain, even money, new friends, whatever reason, those are all possibilities. Equal possibilities are also pain, rejection, failure, public humiliation. And so when I say that you shouldn't have a thick skin, I mean your skin shouldn't be too thick. You shouldn't go out there thinking, to everyone, especially like Reddit or something, and just bare your jugular and open up your rib cage and say, here are my vital organs, destroy me, right? But at the same time, if it doesn't hurt when somebody criticizes your work, if it doesn't give you just a little bit of a, oh man, that sucks, I worked really hard on that, then you're also closed off to the success. And I know I've done this in the past. I know I've said this on this channel. Things like, I don't really care if this makes any money or not. And what I'm actually doing with that is I am deadening myself. I'm numbing myself to avoid the risk of failure. Because if I fail, then it's like, well, I didn't really care. Remember I told you guys how I didn't care, and I didn't care. I convinced myself that I didn't care. But at the same time, I'm also making it so that if I do succeed, I've convinced myself that I don't really care. So it doesn't really matter that much, and I don't get to enjoy that. Whereas if I were to say, you know what, I really want this to do well. I want this to get published. I want people to read it. I'm excited to get it out there in the world, Then if it doesn't do those things, yeah, that's going to hurt and that's going to suck. But if it does do those things, then I'm opening myself up to being able to enjoy all of the benefit that come with that. And so in this journey of art, as we walk down this path of self-mastery and improvement, I'm going to be more open to what I want out of the successes, which is going to be placing myself in a state of vulnerability because chances are, statistically speaking, I will fail, be critiqued and criticized and rejected significantly more often than I succeed. But when I succeed, I'm going to be open to it. So anyway, just a little theory that I have that I think joy and pain are the same thing. And I think if you are willing to experience a certain amount of pain, then you will be open to and equally able to experience that amount of joy. And so whether that be failure and success or fulfillment and whatever, it's that as you're willing to accept this much, you're also able to receive this much. And whatever life throws at you, you're there. And this kind of comes back to my existentialism, where I'm going to try to live in the moment as much as I can. I'm going to accept the present as it comes. And as things present themselves, I'm going to do the best I can with what I have available to me. But with that, I will also accept that that is going to hurt at times, but it's also going to be fun. It's an interesting concept because I've been thinking about this as I've been reading different books. But one of the books, Brene Brown talks about this idea that we are scared of joy. And so whenever we experience joy, we immediately start to flip that. It's a very vulnerable state. We start to flip that and negate it. And so she likens it unto, I feel like I'm speaking Old English, likened it unto. She says that it's a lot like when you're sitting there and you look at your kid and they're sleeping and you just go, man, I just love this kid so much. I couldn't love this kid anymore. And immediately that pops into your mind, like, here are all the terrible ways that they could die, or all of the ways that I'm like ruining their life or whatever. Those thoughts come hand in hand because they're paired, they're linked. As soon as we open ourselves up to the vulnerability of experiencing love and compassion and joy, with that comes the possibility of loss and heartache. And so it's kind of an interesting thing. So anyway, I don't know. I'm curious because you definitely have to be able to take critique. And it's unprofessional not to be able to do that. It's also massively egotistical and prideful to be able to say, well, I don't need critique. My work is as good as it'll get, and nobody can show. Like that's just stupid. And so, I'm curious on what you guys think, especially those of you that are have found some type of balance where you still experience the success and the fulfillment from doing your work, but also are able to take critique, though it hurts. Take it and use that to be able to move forward with it. Or am I totally wrong? Tell me in the comments. What do you think? Is this like totally off and it doesn't apply to critique and improvement in your work? I'm curious on what you think about that. So let me know in the comments. I will catch you guys later. You've seen me inking a page, and I am shooting this on a new iPad Pro, which I'm pretty excited about. I don't like inking on the iPad Pro at all. It is not fun. I still like traditional inks. But what I do like about it is that I shot all this footage that you've been watching in 4K. And so I can zoom way in without any quality loss when I go to 1080p, which is pretty awesome. So I kind of solved that problem that I was having before when I was shooting on a webcam. This webcam is just garbage. The one thing that I haven't figured out yet is I haven't figured out like a decent microphone, and so you might hear slightly echoey thing. And I've got this mic, and this mic is great. It's a Razer Siren, and I really like that mic a lot. But it's USB, and Apple likes to go proprietary, and so I don't know. I'm tempted to try to see if I could go like USB to Thunderbolt and see if it'll accept an external mic, and I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure all that out. Anyway. Sorry that it's been a while. Glad you're back. Thanks for watching. Like this video, subscribe. Check out KoryKerr.com if you're interested in the work that I'm doing. And if you want to see the pages that I've finished, here's a risk that I've taken that I want to tell you guys about. So there is a thing. Laura Ennis, who is the author and illustrator of the webcomic The Dreamer, part of the Oatly Academy and Paper Wings podcast and stuff like that. I've been following her work for quite a while. She sent out an email to all of her followers that said, hey, there's this thing, or there's this mentorship opportunity, ArtLink 212. And initially I was like, oh, not good enough. I came up with all these reasons that I shouldn't do it. And then I immediately said, why am I like trying to talk myself out of this opportunity? Anytime I try to convince myself that I can't do something, I take a hard look at whether that is true or whether I'm scared of it. And so I applied. I applied for this thing. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but it's like a one-on-one kind of mentorship, and they try to help you do stuff. And so I really want this book to do well. I want it to get published, and I want to get it out there. And so I'm really excited to work with Laura and or whatever mentors they may hook me up with if I get approved. And I'm hoping that I do, because I'm pretty excited about it, and I think this book is going to look great. And I think some people will like it, and other people will hate it. And I'm okay for both of those situations. Or at least I'm going to try to be okay with both of those situations. But anyway, I will let you know if I get that, because if I get that, that would be really cool. Because they've got connections and things that I don't have. And so that would be pretty awesome. Anyway, I will catch you guys later. Let me know in the comments what you think of this two sides of the same coin, joy-pain thing. And I'm curious about your ideas of opposition and balance and all that jazz. So in the meantime, I am Cory Kerr. Catch you guys later. Check out my stuff. And there's like subscription things and videos that you should watch and stuff like that. And if you like this video, then share it. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe. Hit that little bell so you get a little notification when I post these dealios. And we will catch you guys later. I'm out.
Yeah.